Hello, this is Steve from Beto's Leatherworks. Today's project is this cool little bag slash backpack. Now basically what we're going to do is we're going to take it apart and replace all the piping on there. You see all that faded area? It appears that the manufacturer didn't use leather. They used some sort of a fabric that's got dye on it. And just kind of, over time, that just kind of falls apart. And also here, underneath the flap, again, they used vinyl on there. That was, that's going to be replaced with leather. And stitch up here and there, a couple of small little areas. And once I got it apart, I'm going to add a little bit of conditioner to it. And then reassemble it with real leather piping. And should add a couple of years of more life to it. All right, let's get started. All right, so basically we're going to put some couple of marks here and there so it'll be easier to reassemble it once we get done. Really, I mean, taking this apart, that's the easy part. So the reason we put the guidelines there, guide marks, so we know, how it was before it got unstitched. Because you want to get it done. Basically, you want it to be the same as what it was when you get done, right? You don't want the bag to be a square bottom, for example, because it's not a square bottom bag. That's the bottom. That was easy, right? Yeah, this assembly is very easy usually. You gotta be careful not to mess the zipper up because we're going to reuse it again. It's kind of cool bag. You can zip up the back strap, make it into one, or unzip it and make it into two pieces. It's kind of cool. Can you guys see what I'm doing? I guess the camera's too high. Alright. Let's see if we can get a better angle here. Is that too low? Maybe not. Oh, that's better. You guys can see what I was doing? I wish somebody would have said something. It's a joke. This blade seems to be a little dull here. Alright. Whoa, this is sharp. Alright. So in the few minutes that we started this, the bag is half apart. This is not going to be a long video. It's not going to be an hour video because this is not really a complicated job. It's a matter of taking it apart and restitching it back and you're done. So hopefully it won't be too long. There's not really much of details to talk about with these kinds of jobs. You simply take it apart and you put it back together. Oh, I am going to replace these pieces though. These are on the inside. When you've got the zipper, the piping, and this piece here all stitched together, you have all the rough edges there, right? This is just simply covering that. It's a binding, as that's what it's called, and it stitches on top and it kind of hides all the edges of the material. So we'll replace that because this is really falling apart. You can't really reuse that too well. All right, let's continue. So most of the time, whenever you take something apart, you've got to remove the old stitches. I mean, that's just the right way to do things, You can't just stitch on top of it and just cake it on. It's not going to look very good. Now this flap here has got a magnet on there, so we're going to take that out and put it on on the leather piece that we're gonna put on. She is set. This one came loose a little bit. We're gonna attach it back. And you see, this is basically paper, fiberboard. Not really what is paper, but maybe like a more of like a condensed paper. That's what most manufacturers use to give it some shape, you know. This magnet is still good. We're going to reuse that on there. And we're going to take this piece off here, and we're going to reuse that too. Let's remove the magnet first. I try to use whatever I can of the original pieces. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. If it needs replacing, of course I would be glad to replace it. No questions asked. So let me make some marks here exactly where it's supposed to go. And she's going to go just like that. Make sure the distance to the tip is right. So let's say 1 3/4 inches. 1 3/4 inches exact. Alright, we'll glue this to the flap, and then we'll go ahead and stitch that together. Alright, let's continue. So we got the flap stitched, okay? Now, if you look here, 2 guidelines, right? This one and this one. So from this spot on to the other end is where the 2 stitch together. Okay, just like that. The back piece and the front piece. Now I stopped the stitch here because when I go ahead and stitch these 2 together, we'll continue that. There won't be 2 rows of stitches here. So it'll start right where I left off, continue that when I'm ready to sew these 2 pieces together. Now, what we're going to do here, okay, we're not just going to cut the thread, because if you just cut the thread, you know, over time of use, it's going to come loose. So we're going to open that up just a little bit like that, okay, and we're going to pull the thread between the leather. Okay, just like that. And we're going to take this, we're going to tie this into 2 knots. Maybe sometimes 3, but I think it's a little too much, 3. Just 2 knots, just like that. This way it'll... This phone hasn't stopped beeping all morning. Just 2 knots like that. We'll cut this off right here, just maybe about 1 inch. And then we'll stick some glue in there, and then glue that inside. This will never come apart again. This way, there's no... You don't see anything... any like loose threads from the top or the bottom. It stays shut pretty good. All right, let's continue. All right, so we've got the flap stitched with the new leather on the bottom. Remember where we stopped the stitch here? Now continued all the way. And when you look at it, it looks like it's just 1 stitch all the way around the flap. All right. I think it's coming along good. Let's continue. All right, so we got the bottom piece, the piping in. Found this nice brown leather. It's very similar color. A little shade off, but it's in the brown family. Now we're going to do the other piping. Now, normally I replace the inner pieces of the piping, but this seems to be in pretty good shape, so I'm going to reuse this. So we just cut some pieces of leather like that. We're going to glue this in there. And we're going to stitch it onto the bag. You know, I'm so grateful for all the comments you guys are making, man. It's really, really cool. You know, I never thought that. I'm trying to see if I got the video in right now. Wait. I never thought that people would be really interested in what I do. I mean, this is, I mean, to me, it's my normal day-to-day life, you know? But to actually have people to make comments, to take the time and to make a comment, I think it's very cool. And one of the viewers, I forgot his name. I'm going to feel bad. I'll see if I can find his name. He sent me 2 bags of coffee, right? So I get a shipment in, right? I think it was UPS or something. And one of my guys brings 2 bags. He's carrying the 2 bags in the back, and he's like, "These are for you." I'm like, "What do you mean those are for me? Who gave that?" He goes, "I don't know. It came in the mail." I'm like, "What? You're serious? Somebody send me coffee? Are you kidding me?" I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. But man, it was such a great gesture. Thank you so much. I'm gonna find his name now. I think it's on. I think I still have the packet. I mean, I thanked him, right? He was on. He made a comment and about how he sent it, you know, and I just forgot his name, but I'm gonna find it now to kind of thank him again. So I really, really appreciate it. It's kind of cool. All right, so there's your piping, right? That's a new piping there. Now I got 2 of them. I'm gonna stitch this side first, okay, before I take the other side apart. So that way I don't get confused on how to put it back together. All right, let's continue. You know, after I did this piping, I kind of had a, you know. Anyway, I didn't like. I'm gonna change that. I'm gonna put my piping in there. Now, what this is basically a weed whacker line, a trimmer like a weed whacker trimmer line. These are very durable. They don't break very easily. They'll last a long time. And what they had in theirs was plastic basically. I mean, this is plastic too, but this one is a different. This one's different density plastic than this one is. I don't know. I just kind of felt odd. I was bending it. I bent it some couple of more times, and it actually just kind of weakened, and I pulled it and broke. So I'm kind of glad I did that now, because I would have hate to, you know, get the thought after the fact of me assembling the bag and then I got to take the damn thing apart again. So it was kind of a blessing in disguise that it actually broke in my hand, so I can put this in there. Now this comes in different sizes now, okay? This weed whacker line. Some are thin, some are thick. I can't remember what size this is, but this works perfectly. So we're just gonna make a new piping out of this one, and I'll just cut another piece of leather to do the other one again. Sometimes I work on items and, you know, just kind of after the fact I'll think about it, you know, and then most of the time it's not too late to go back and do it. Now what I'm doing here, I'm just kind of squeezing this together. I'm not pressing really hard, or else I'd cut it, because these are cutters, obviously, or nippers or wire cutters, whatever they call them. I'm just kind of squeezing that to get the air pockets out and push that piping against the leather to make it nice and tight. And there she be. Now I feel more comfortable knowing that that's not going to break. All right, let's continue. All right, so we've got the piping on the other one. Now this is just a ribbon, right? At a local fabric store. Comes in different widths. So I'm going to glue one side and then fold it over and stitch it. Now the reason I glue this is because I don't want it to be too long on this side, so when the zipper is when it's closing, it doesn't catch the slider, and you're gonna have a hard time. It's always gonna catch it. Hard time opening and closing the zipper. Now there are machine, shouldn't say machine. Well, yes, machines, but it's attachment to the sewing machine for stuff like this. I do have something that would work, but just the fact that I got to set it up on the machine will take a while to make the adjustments. I'm just like, you know what? If I was doing like a production, something that, you know, of a production, I would probably install it on there. But since this is just one piece, I figured I'd glue it and stitch the edge down. Now, I know I'm not showing you guys a lot of details, stitching and this and that, but really I wanna be able to not have a 3-hour long video for you guys. This is just giving you the basics. Alright, let's continue. Alright, we're done with another project. New leather there. New binding around the top. Both zippers. I still have to clean it up a little bit. Just a little spot there. And just kind of condition it up. And then she's ready to go. Wasn't too bad. I still like that strap right there. It's kind of cool how it unzips into 2 pieces. Alright, well, I'm glad you guys joined me. I appreciate your time, spending the time with me. I know this video wasn't as detailed as my other ones, but sometimes you got to get some jobs done and get them out the door. Now, if you guys have any questions in regards to the job, please email me, beatos@yahoo.com, and I'll do my best to answer all your questions. You can share, you can like, you can dislike, do whatever you got to do. And I appreciate you guys again for joining me. We'll see you again next time. All right, let's continue.